I decided to make a video about a pharmaceutical giant called Pfizer and their #1 brain-selling drug called Zoloft. Now, this drug Zoloft is for two different types of disorders. One is depression and one is anxiety. Now, Pfizer sold over $3.1 billion of this drug alone in 2006. The FDA, or Food and Drug Administration, paid for by the American taxpayer, which in the same year in 2006 paid $1.236 trillion in taxes. Part of that money does go to fund this department. Approved Zoloft for human consumption for adults and minors under the age of 18. Now, disregarding the fact that Great Britain has banned drugs like this since 2003 for minors because of the increased suicide rate, the suicide rate and homicide rate does go for, minors and adults, but the FDA decided this is still good for human consumption, so they keep it on the books as okay. There's actually two branches of our government, which is still paid for by you, the American taxpayer, that decides whether a drug should be legalized or illegal. And this is the Department of Justice and the Department of Health and Human Services, which the FDA is a part of. Now, for illegal drugs, they schedule them 1 through 5.
Drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. If you do them, you're bad. Because drugs are bad, okay? It's a bad thing to do drugs, so don't be bad by doing drugs, okay? That'd be bad.
1 being the worst and 5 being the least. Schedule 1 drugs are as follows. This is what makes a Schedule 1 drug. The drug has a high potential for abuse. The drug is not currently accepted for medical use and treatments in the USA. And number 3, there is a lack of accepted safety for the drug or other substances under medical supervision. So let's take a second to think about this. The medical departments of the United States, which is the doctors, the pharmaceutical companies, the pharmacists themselves, are telling the FDA what can and cannot be accepted, and therefore makes it legal or illegal for human consumptions in America. Is that really right for these type of corporations and individuals to be telling the FDA, which is paid for by you, which should be legalized, when most doctors that are prescribing this pill have stock investments into Pfizer? Now, there's other videos that go into this, and it's an extreme rate. They're making money off of you. No matter if you're killing yourself, to suicidal, it does not matter. There's lawsuits left and right. Just Google it. It's out there. But here's how a corporation values it in the pharmaceutical world. They take A, the profit they make from the drug. B, the lawsuit payout. C is the basically recall or keep it going. If B, the lawsuit payout, is less than the profit they're making, they will never recall the drug or make it illegal or stop, producing it. So as long as they're not having to pay in lawsuits what they're profiting, they will continue to sell the drug. Zoloft has an addiction rate of 1 out of 3 of its users. It has an extreme addiction rate out of 1 out of 5 of its users. So that right there shows that there is a high potential for abuse. That's higher than alcohol. That's higher than marijuana. That's higher than cocaine. That is very high, but it's still not a Schedule 1 drug. So let's look at the second reason. The drug is not currently accepted for use in the medical treatment. Well, of course it's accepted. These companies are making $1 billion off of it. And 3, there's a lack of accepted safety. Well, let's look at the safety of this drug, and let's see why the FDA and the medical board says that it's safe for human consumption. Now, there's many side effects of Zoloft, but I'm just going to read through the majority of them. Now, this does not include all of them. Now, this is a drug that is prescribed for 2 things, depression and anxiety. But 2 of the top side effects are depression and anxiety. Another rate is homicide capabilities, and the 4th is suicide, which suicide rates with this pill are known. Just like I said, Google it. Don't believe stuff you hear in these type of videos. Do your own research. But let's look at some of the other side effects. Skin rashes or hives, breathing difficulties, swelling of the face, swelling of the lips, swelling of the tongue, swelling of the throat, panic attacks, insomnia, which means you can't sleep at night, impulsive behavior, becoming irritable easily, becoming agitated easily, becoming very hostile, increased aggression, Restlessness, hyperactive, either mentally or physically. Decrease in your sex drive, impotence for you males, difficulty orgasming for males and females, seizures or convulsions, tremors, shivering, muscle stiffness, muscle aching, twitching, problems with your balance or coordination, confusion, sweating, fast heartbeat, drowsiness, weakness, nausea, diarrhea, dry mouth, change in appetite or weight, anorexia. Now these are just some of the top side effects. Now there's two more. This drug eats away your liver tissue. You need your liver to survive, as we all know. That's the whole problem, that everybody talks about when they talk about alcoholism. It eats away your liver. Taking Tylenol eats away your liver. This drug eats away your liver at an extreme rate. It also causes mania or hypomania in 0.5% of its users. But somehow, this drug doesn't fall under the Schedule 1 Act of lacking safety? I'm kind of confused on that. But let's keep looking at some other stuff. Let's look at the side effects of the withdrawal in case you decide to come off Zoloft. Now these are just some of the top 84. Now there's more than 84 withdrawal side effects. Now we're not talking about heroin or crack addiction or alcoholism. We're talking about Zoloft here. These are when you come off of it. Anorexia, canker sores, loss of coordination, twitching of the muscles, increased blood cholesterol, blood in your bowel movements, blood in your urine, heart failure, heart attack. This drug can kill you when you come off of it. Even heroin does not kill a complete heroin addict when he comes off of it. But this drug can. Crack addicts don't die when they come off crack, but you can die from a heart attack when you come off Zoloft. Cold sweat, dehydration, double vision, intestinal failure. Your body can't process food. You get a buildup. Your stomach swells and you die from it. Loss of speaking correctly, mumbling of words, trouble of swallowing. Men, once again, loss of erection. Women, once again, loss of sexual appetite. Redness of the skin. Your esophagus swells and closes. Facial swelling. Gums bleed easily. Excessive fat buildup in the liver. Once again, you take it, it kills your liver. You get off of it, it's killing your liver. Urinating all over yourself, releasing your bowels all over yourself. Muscle tissue in the heart wall dies, so once again it's hurting your heart. Vivid nightmares, seeing lights, sparks of colors that are not there. Extreme itchy red swollen bumps on the skin. And once again depression, anxiety, and suicide and homicidal behavior. I'm not making this up, you can look this up, but yet this still stands for the FDA to say it's approved. Now this seems like it falls under all the Schedule 1 things except for the one thing, and that's the medical board has use for it. What is the use for this drug? If it cures depression and anxiety, but it also causes depression and anxiety, that's just a contradiction within itself. This drug is there for one reason. Doctors push this drug, pharmaceutical companies make it, and they both profit millions upon dollars. Now the UK bans this type of drug for minors under the age of 18 because of the increased suicide rate attached to it. But the FDA in America still says it's okay and is endorsed by the FDA to be given to minors. And they're telling us Zoloft is okay to take. There's more side effects with this drug and more side effects when you're coming off of it than most Schedule 1 Act drugs. But yet, because it's a pharmaceutical company and they've learned how to profit off of it, it's continued to be illegal. Pfizer, these people make billions off this drug, not including their other drugs that are completely harmful. Now, that's pretty much all I got to say about this drug. You should be pretty much aware. You should wonder why Pfizer can exist as a company, or why your taxpayers are paying the FDA, which is supposed to protect you, approving this drug. Don't take it. Do your own research. Anytime you watch one of these videos on Google, do your own research. Remember, it's up to you. You are the power in America. You don't have to stand for this shit. You don't have to let them approve something that kills you.
Drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. If you do them, you're bad. Because drugs are bad, okay? It's a bad thing to do drugs. So